Welcome to Deep Thought. It's all about power. Hey, check it out. I mean, I know Deep Thought, I talk about a lot of deep thought topics, maybe some metaphysical topics. But really, Deep Thought is about just thinking about stuff, period. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is power. And not just, in an abstract sense, but what people do for it. And specifically, what many groups do for power, right? What many groups do for power. We have all these isms out here, whether it's far left, far right, Black Lives Matter, evangelicals, myriad groups, Democrats, Republicans. If you really look at it, it's just different groups vying for power, control, the ability to shape a narrative, whatever it might be, right? And, all these groups have something in common, or every single group have something in common. It's never a mass movement. It's never a mass move. You look at any of these groups, it's always a core group of people, a vanguard, so to speak. A vanguard or some type of party who claim to speak for everybody else. And that's one of the things. And, they'll get into things and they'll get into something because they want to change whatever for everybody else. Like, and they'll use whatever form they can use to do it. They'll have an agenda. Like Black Lives Matter, right? I'm going to tell you the truth. One time I went to their website and I'm like, wait a minute, they don't care about all black lives? This was like strictly lesbians. And I'm like, oh, okay. But what they trying to do, they trying to galvanize a mass to get what their agenda across, which really don't include many men. That's the irony of it. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Because they had something specifically on their website. It was very anti-man. I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't y'all come to prominence trying, protesting the deaths of black men at the hands of police? But see, I peeped it though anyway. I was just like, I just shook my head. I was like, it's about power. You get this, like the alt-right, right? These guys, they claim, oh, we doing this for the white race and everything. And please, the biggest opposition has been from other whites. Seriously, if you look at like some of this ideological stuff, if you get like the anti-racist, far left type and Antifa type, and that's another issue. Everybody claimed to speak for the people. And the people are like, you don't speak for us. Like even the alt-right, I saw a website one time. It was like rednecks. They called themselves rednecks. These actual, I guess, poor whites and stuff. They were like, yeah, I don't speak for us. And I've actually dealt with some like true to the game rednecks. True to the game. I mean, all the stereotypes, all of that. They were cool people. They just try to live. Yeah, there's some racist ones, but most of them, they really just trying to like get through life every day. They really are. They don't care. As long as you're good peoples to them, they good peoples to you. So, but then a lot of people claim to speak for them. And that could be anything. You have a movement in this country. The best overall term would be Christian right. They feel like they can take over the country, because, they got to get Jesus to come back. And so they feel like in order to get them to come back, they got to take over the country and impose their rule, And you just like, they claim to speak for, once again, they claim they're doing it for the majority of people, but the majority don't support them. If you look at any of these movements, they never really have mass support. They never really do, but they'll claim to speak for them. But it's about power. It's never about the people. Because I'm gonna tell you what. Here's some real talk, and you can really study revolution and groups that come to power in any society, and it's the same thing. Usually, it's this: you get a small group of people. They figure out how to rile up the masses, right? They figure out how to get a support, because that's really all it is. You know, the competition between groups is vanguards fighting each other to get control of the masses. Now, if you get one group who managed to tap into the masses and get them, you know, come to power and everything, they support them and everything. Here's an interesting thing that happens. And like I say, you can study revolution in any culture and you'll see this. Usually what happens is the vanguard can't deliver on their promises. You know, they'll overthrow like a regime, come to power, and, you know, with a bunch of promises to empower the masses. They can't do that. They can't. And then the masses eventually, they like, wait a minute, I thought you were going to get us, you know, you were going to get us a chicken and a home, all this stuff, right? You were going to get us rights. And then all of a sudden, what happens is the people get in power and they have to become an oppressor or some type of oppressor, or put some measures in to keep the masses down. And I mean, like I say, that's happened. That's happened because they got to where they wanted to get. Now they like, whatever. You saw that in this country with the civil rights movement. Once a lot of those leaders got into power, they switched up. Just look at it. A lot of them became politicians. They got that power, and then in many cases, they became a problem to the masses. You know, there was a lot of corruption and everything, because it's always about power. It's always about that. It was just like, wait a minute. We bust our heads so this person can get up here and look down on us. And like I'm saying, you look up anything, there's always, the Soviet Union, you know, Workers' Republic, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, you got to do all this to keep the masses down. Yeah, because a wise person said it's all about, a revolution is really about an elite group using the masses to get what they want. It's fuel. I mean, Nazi Germany, I could just keep throwing out stuff. Nazi Germany, the Nazis were a small group. Even in the United States, the American Revolution, only 10% of people actually fought. You know, the masses might not have cared if the British were still in charge. And there's an argument for many cases, particularly like slavery, that slavery would have ended soon if the British remained in charge. Because the British abolished slavery in the 1830s, I believe. I'm not sure about the exact date, but it was way earlier than the United States did. And they did it without force. So I want y'all to think about that. A lot of times when I see politicians, when I see groups, I'm asking a question. Even this thing with Trump lately, everybody's like looking at Trump's antics, and I'm like, y'all need to be looking at the evangelicals who supported him and their agenda, the Christian rights agenda. Like, I'm gonna say this publicly. I'm hoping people trying to get Trump out. I'm like, no, he got some crazy antics, but we really don't want Pence in there. We really, because he's definitely on that Christian right thing. Seriously, that'd be a bigger problem. You can keep. Trust me, that's the only reason they supported him. That's the only reason they supported Trump. They wanted to get up there. Everybody's looking at like some alt-right people and all of that. Yeah, they might have got some benefit, but that's the main force. That's who came out. But it's a small group. Like I said, a small group. And, you know, they got a big base, bigger than most, but you have some people in there. It's about power. That's anything. And that's Revolution 101. That's where I want y'all to think about that. When y'all look at every movement, feminism. It's a small group purporting to speak for all women, even though all women were like, nah, we good staying at home, letting him be the man. In fact, you got a counter movement now for that, but that's another conversation. But I want y'all to think about that. Think about just look. Y'all can do the research yourself. That's revolution 101. That's change 101. A movement you have an elite group, a vanguard, who get the masses to do their bidding. And it's really not to help the masses. The masses are just fuel for it. It's about getting power. That's why I'm gonna tell you what. That's why if you look at like the United States is genius for preventing anything major. All you have to do is like they ain't gonna kill or repress you or anything. They're gonna send some money your way. Put you on TV. They gonna diffuse it. Because all the person wants is power anyway. That's why you get some people they get a little bit of money, all of a sudden you forget they were ever in the masses. But I wanted to share that. I want to share that perspective. I want y'all to think about that because like I said, I want this channel is about thinking, period, and just think about everything. You know, sometimes look at the man behind the mirror, the curtain, or the person behind the curtain. There's always a movement of power. Even me too. That's a small group because they going for power. And they'll say, this is all of us. No, it ain't. The masses itself is like kind of happy to like eat, sleep, and fuck. As long as you don't interfere with that, they'll live in a dictatorship. It's only when someone else comes along and say, hey, I can do this better. So anyway, that's it for today. Y'all keep rising and transforming. Peace.